Hi, chosen family. It's me, Stephanie, the Seeker, and we're back talking about the gang stalking. And the reason I do these videos, and please, if they're helping you or you think they will help someone else, I ask that you like and subscribe. And the reason I ask this is because the reason I do these videos is because of the time that I was so lost and so confused, and there was no good knowledge out there. I would scan the internet for an explanation as for what was happening to me. I hadn't even heard the term gang stalking. I just had all of these scary experiences that had forced me into isolation and into a shriveling ball of fear. And it has taken me several years and the revelations of the Most High for me to fully understand what was going on. But the reason I chose to do these videos is because there is someone out there scanning the internet looking for an explanation, and maybe this is a shortcut. I mean, you can only get real truth and fully understand by connecting with the Father. But hopefully I can point you in the right direction or walk alongside you in your journey. So that's why I ask you to like or subscribe, so that one of those people out there can benefit from maybe understanding a little better. Another thing I want to say is that I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning and things are still revealed to me. But I want to share, there's someone further back on this journey than what I am today. And it's for that person or those people that I do these videos. So in another video, I talked to you about why you are gang stalked. And there's a lot to all of that. And you have upset a narcissist. So this very much involves narcissistic abuse, and many videos can be done and have been done on that subject alone. I believe the word narcissist is a very politically correct word for someone who is under the influence of darker forces or just plain is a darker entity. They have all the same characteristics. So we have psychologists that are putting, carnal terms on these and personality traits that align with these individuals, and they're accurate. But the Bible also tells us that Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And when you boil down the behavior of a narcissist, that is exactly what they're doing. They are there to steal your energy, your light, to destroy everything about your life, and even to kill you. Let me say, to unalive you, either spiritually, mentally, even physically. And I know that sounds extreme, but I have firsthand experience of waking up on a ventilator, so I don't exclude that from their repertoire. So you have this narcissist that you have encountered and offended and triggered this gang stalking. And one thing that people ask a lot of individuals who identify as targeted individuals is, like, what makes you so special? There's a lot of information coming to light about who's involved in and what organizations and individuals are involved in gang stalking. Everything from the street perpetrator to organized agencies. Again, these are most likely accurate, but they are carnal views. And it is because within society and within government agencies and organizations, there are people of light and people of dark. So, of course, All of the above is true. If you notice the description of my channel, it's a quote, that we are not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I can't pronounce the Frenchman's name who said that. It's Pierre Chardin, I believe it is. Pierre Teilhard Chardin. But when you look from that vantage point, and you look from a spiritual vantage point, it only makes sense that any and all of these agencies and individuals and groups are involved, because anywhere you have spiritually dark people and ill-intended people, you have the capacity for them to orchestrate these things. And it really does sound bizarre to the average individual. So if you're not a target, most of this will sound crazy and not resonate with you. If you are a target and you haven't quite figured out why this is happening to you, you might have some idea. Maybe you're a whistleblower. Maybe you know the ex that set out to destroy you, but it just doesn't make sense, like the gravity of what's happening to you. If you're like me, I was actually warned by my narcissist what was going to happen to me. I thought that person was just kind of crazy. They were. But if you have some idea, but I had no idea the gravity and the scope of what was about to happen to me and all of the areas of my life that it would infiltrate. And every target has a different experience because it is psychological warfare on the carnal level. It's spiritual warfare on a spiritual level. But it is individualized to whatever you are sensitive to, whatever will trigger you, whatever buttons, so to speak, that exist in you that can be pushed. And that's different for everyone. But what I really wanted to focus on today was how it makes sense, the gravity of what's happening to you versus who you really are. And that's what's so important. When you talk about this in terms of spiritual warfare, you have to understand, and it still, to this day, there are only moments when I can fully grasp it. It's a simple idea, but when you look at the essence of evil, Satan, darkness, however you want to talk about it, it is pervasive and scary, historical, and but I don't think most of us understand how powerful our light is. And I even hear people talk about gangstalking and allude to or even reference that it is your light that's trying to be dimmed. And that is true. I have gone back and I'm still daily go back and read scripture, and it reads to me very differently now than before I was awake. And I don't know another way to put it, but before certain things were revealed to me. But I want to talk about that light. Jesus, I could never collect all of the scriptures, and I'm not a preacher or a biblical theologian, but if I went back through and saw all the underlines in my Bible where it's talked about our light, I could fill a 2-hour, 3-hour video on it. But there were a couple that stood out in my mind, and I wanted to share them. The first one is Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world, okay? But a city lying on a hill is unable to be hidden, is what the next sentence is. And the reason that's important is I didn't know who I was. I did not know who I always had a good heart posture. I thought everybody did. But I didn't recognize how much I stood out. So I wasn't aware of how bright that light is. But you can be sure, you can bet your bottom dollar, Satan does. So if we are like a city lying on a hill, it says it's unable to be hidden. And you couple that with 1 Peter 5, 8 and 9. The enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. So if you put those two scriptures together, you've got, and there's other references like this. Job, Satan went to God before he destroyed Job's life, and God basically said, "What you been doing?" And he said, "Well, I've been, roaming the earth, looking at people." And God said, "Well, have you considered my child Job?" So there are references throughout the Bible that Satan and his minions are literally prowling the earth like a lion, seeking whom they can destroy. Couple that with you, if you are chosen, if this resonates with you, and your light is so bright that it is like a city on a hill, it can't be hidden. So when you put it in that perspective, Satan's prowling around. He's not going to attack someone who is not a threat. He wants God's children. He wants the children of the light. And if your light is so bright, you think Satan can't see that? And all of the powers that go with him, that was a light bulb moment for me. So even though I couldn't see it, we were chosen. God knew us before we were in the womb. Satan can see us even before we see ourselves. There's another scripture, and I love this. It's Luke 8:16. And it says, "No one lights a lamp and covers it with a jar or puts it under a bed. Instead, he sets it on a stand so those who enter can see the light." I love that because it's just commonsensical. Like God created us. He didn't create a light so it could be snuffed out or hidden. It's like being set on a stand. And so you might not be able to see it yet. Or maybe this is starting to resonate with you and you're thinking, I always did feel different. Like I always had this connection with God. I always felt set apart, different. And there's so much we need to get into with that. But what I really wanted to talk about today was how powerful, how visible, and how threatening that is to darkness. So all it takes in a dark room is a little bit of light to illuminate the whole thing. So you can understand Satan, who is total darkness, there is no light in him, would be threatened by even the slightest flicker of a light. And I have just shown you what Scripture says about your light, about my light. Do you not think that if Satan seeks to steal, kill, and destroy, he's roaming the earth to devour? And I'm sorry to be gloom and doom. It's not all gloom and doom. That he is not going to seek out that light on the hill that light that God put in us from before we were in the womb, oh yeah, we're the first people he's coming for. And the whole goal of gang stalking, and trust me, I've read books and listened to hundreds of hours of videos, and I know much of the techniques and the technology and the street theater and the smear campaigns and the device hacking. I mean, we could do videos on their tactics, and we could do videos on the complex trauma that it induces. But what I think is more important, because this is what everyone asks a targeted individual, it is almost an immediate discreditation. Like, what makes you so special? You think what these organizations and people are out to get you? Like, what makes you so special? That's the first thing you need to understand. You are that special, and that threatening, and that powerful. And there is so much more we need to get into. But the reason I do these videos is for that person sitting at home who is scared, who has been discredited and is confused, and whether you're battling technology issues, smear campaigns, street theater, once you understand the goal, that they want you shriveled up in fear, confused, while you're running around in circles trying to figure all that out, your light is covered with a jar. It's not gone. It can't be extinguished. And Satan knows this. Your light can't be extinguished. It can only be hidden. And all of the distractions and all of the discrediting to keep you from your purpose, that's the goal. Because your purpose is much greater than you realize, much greater than I realize. It is part of a design plan that was formulated long before we came to this planet. So that's the first thing you need to understand. That's why you're so special. That's why you're so threatening. The last thing that the enemy wants is for anything, any truth, to be illuminated. I was reading this morning, darkness, there is no truth in him. There is no light in him. So even just the tiniest truth and light exposes a whole bunch. And that's what you are. But if you are at the phase I'm talking about, you are so busy trying to figure out what's happening to you, defending yourself, rationalizing, trying to figure out who's involved, what's involved, why is this happening? I mean, we can cut through all of that. You are light, they are dark. You are threatening. And think of how many people it takes and how much effort it takes because of a light in you that you may or may not even realize is there or so bright. So that should be confirmation for you of how powerful you are. And powerful in a way that threatens darkness. That's what I mean by powerful. We know who wins this in the end. Jesus told us, don't be discouraged if the world hates you. The world hated me first, but I have overcome the world. God, our victory is assured. And Satan knows that. So he's getting as much mileage as he can for as long as he can. And as long as he can keep your light under a jar or under the bed, the less people can see. And we want people to see. And once you just understand that part, then the gig is up. There's different levels. You'll get to where they can't provoke you. to respond in a way. If you haven't noticed, the things that are being done to you, large and small, are to provoke you to an emotional reaction. Then you can be characterized as unstable, or maybe you are coping using substances. Well, then you'll be discredited as having substance abuse issues. I mean, it is torture. There's no doubt it's torture. But once you understand the goal, and the goal being to dim your light, the goal being to keep you caught in that cycle of fear and confusion. It says Satan is the author of confusion. And if this resonates with you, that is like at the core of gang stalking. Confusion, disorientation, destabilization. He's the great accuser. The smear campaigns. These are all characteristics of Satan. And there was a time I would have told you this is really kind of extreme. But if you open your mind just a little bit, I mean, do you have a better explanation? It's worth checking out. It's worth thinking about. Go back in your life. How long has this been happening? And I don't mean the gang stalking. I mean the discrediting. I mean the minimalization of you. Were you the black sheep? Were you ostracized? Were your parents or a parent a narcissist? Like, this has probably been happening for a very long time, because just like God knew you before you were in the womb, Satan saw your little light come into the world too. So just know you're that important. Start thinking about this. If this is something that resonates with you, I want to give you hope, and I want to encourage you, because it is psychological torture. It's psychological warfare. And what I mean that on the carnal level. But once you understand, they're just trying to incite me, drain my energy, like get me so caught up in emotion. Once you realize that and don't give them that, even internally, first you might have to fake it externally. I'm not going to react. I'm not going to react. But eventually, internally, they don't have the ability to get in here and to pull out that energy. You learn to kind of chalk it up like, yeah, I see what's up. But the targeting becomes less intense because it's not as effective. It's not like they wouldn't keep doing it to that level if they thought it would work. But once you understand the goal and you don't give them that, and you're not afraid, do you think my face would have been on this video a few years ago? Forget about it. But the attacks are going to come regardless. But they also come a lot less when you recognize their goal. It's to dim your light. And you would think over thousands of years, they would recognize they can't extinguish your light. They can't extinguish my light. But they can cover it, hide it, keep you running around in circles, keep you shriveled up and afraid, keep you from speaking out, keep you from illuminating the path for someone else. And if they've done that, they've won. So if for no other reason, you can't allow that. Understand how powerful you are, how loved you are, how special you are. Even that I didn't see. Do you know, I thought everybody had a heart posture that was well-intentioned, not jealous, didn't wish other people harm, wanted the world to be a better place. Do you know how truly rare it is to find individuals who are so devoted and connected to God? They don't operate out of jealousy. They don't operate out of fear and malice. They encourage you. And I'm going to caution you this. We'll talk about this later. You're going to have to make sacrifices, because the more you learn about the people, I guarantee you, I guarantee you I would put my life on it. If you are chosen, if you are targeted, if you are a light in this world, unless you're in complete seclusion, there are people in your life you're going to have to give up. And those are the people who are wearing a mask, who are, and we can go through this in later videos, signs of someone who isn't operating in your best interest. And it is a painful journey. But that obedience, asking God to reveal to you who these people might be, and being obedient in removing them, you will elevate, to use a common term. That obedience is rewarded with knowledge. With much knowledge does come much grief. I won't lie to you. But what's the alternative? I mean, you really have two alternatives right now. If you are being gang-stalked and you are trying to figure it out, you can just acquiesce and live shriveled up. Let Satan win. Let the gang stalkers win. Live in fear. I just had a flash of what that felt like. Or to open your eyes just a little bit. Consider what I'm saying. You can eliminate it in terms of you don't have to live in that prison anymore. That mental prison, that physical prison. There's a way out. And if for no other reason, get mad. Don't let the enemy win. You are special. You are loved. If this resonates with you, you are chosen. Now many are called, few are chosen. So there are a lot of people out there being gang-stalked, targeted, that may have a light. They're called. Are you going to be chosen? And that says, okay, God, I accept your assignment for my life. I'm here to fulfill whatever purpose it is that you have for me. I'm in. That's what makes you chosen. So I love you all. I hope this brings light to someone. And just keep being you. Keep shining. And don't let it be covered up. I love you all.